Why is it that civilized humanity can make the world so wrong? In this hurly-burly of insanity, our dreams cannot last long. We've reached a deadline, a press headline. Every sorrow, blues value is news value tomorrow. Blues, 20th century blues is getting me down. Who's escaped those dreary 20th century blues? Why, if there's a God in the sky, why shouldn't he grin high above this weary 20th century din? In this strange illusion, chaos and confusion, people seem to lose their way. What is there to strive for, love or keep alive for? Say, hey, hey, call it a day. Blues, nothing to win or to lose. It's getting me down. Who's escaped those dreary 20th century blues? Reached a deadline, a press headline. Every sorrow, blues value is news value tomorrow. Blues, nothing to win or to lose. It's getting me down. Who's escaped those weary 20th century blues? I had a friend. I have actually more than one friend. But this is a particular friend called Harry Nilsson. And Harry and I used to do drugs together. And when I say drugs, I don't mean just drugs like you have now. I mean real drugs. Serious drugs. Narcotics, in fact. Basically, Harry liked certain things and I liked others, but it was pretty similar. And it was an unusual friendship, because usually the people you do drugs with, if you're a drug addict anyway, it's probably the same with alcohol, are not really people you'd see if they didn't have drugs. You wouldn't want anything to do with them. But Harry and I were actual friends, and as will be seen. And then one day, I had to stop doing drugs because I was going to die if I didn't. So I went away, got on a plane to, where was it? Minnesota, in fact, and went to this place where they helped me, and I began to learn, or began to think and feel that I might be able to live life without drugs, which was quite a concept for me at the time, actually. And then I was there for about 4 or 5 months, and I came back out again, and I went to live quite wisely, I think, in Boston. I didn't think I could go back to New York. And in Boston, I was very lucky. I found a great shrink. I made friends. And I found my acupuncturist and all these things that really helped me. And it was very, very hard. The first year was very hard. All I saw was rivers of blood, basically. I kept having hallucinations. It was awful. And for that first year, even I realized it would not be a good idea to see Harry. So I didn't. But a couple of years went by and I thought, damn it, I want to see the old loon again. So I heard he was coming to New York, and I flew to New York and I met with him. And it was really very fascinating. Quite hard, but still it was possible. I could see that. Harry did drugs and I didn't. And this was the first time I had realized that you could be completely separate to what somebody else was doing. I didn't know that. I thought if you were doing drugs, then I had to, you know. But it's not true. And then, more time went on. I still didn't do drugs. Harry had to stop too, because he was going to die, which astounded me, because I had thought that he was immortal. But no, he was just the same as anyone else, and he had to stop or die. And then he had some really bad luck. And I don't mean to imply that the minute you stop doing drugs, you get bad luck, because that's not what I mean at all. But it is a bit like that, this story, but never mind. Oh, God. Sounds like it. First thing that happened was that Harry's accountant went south, which means, in American, that the man who has all your money takes it and goes to Mexico. And this was really awful, because Harry Nilsson was very, very wealthy indeed. Really, really wealthy. Much more wealthy than all of us put together. Well, I don't know that, but me anyway. Me and Paul put together. Or maybe just me. I must say, Harry didn't really seem to care that much, really, at all. But when I think about it, it must have been very hard for his wife and children, because they had to move from a big grand house with lots of cars and swimming pools and things, and into a very, very, very small, little, tiny house. But they did it. I mean, God, he had guts, that man. And then his teeth started to fuck up, which always happens when you stop drinking and doing drugs, doesn't it, Paul? See? He knows. I swear to you, this is what happens. And in fact, Paul and I were discussing it the other day as to why could this be, and we realized, or we decided, it's probably because that's when you start eating again. It's a little simplistic, I know, as a theory, but it works for us, doesn't it? Yeah. So there we are, there, Harry, and I knew this well. I'd gone through it too. Off to the dentist endlessly. Didn't like the dentist at all. Who does? And unfortunately, in the dentist chair, whilst under anaesthetic, having root canal work, Harry Nilsson died. His heart gave out. He got very big, and just, there you go. So, they put the body, Harry's body, into a coffin, a huge coffin, because he was very big by then, and took it to a funeral parlor in the Valley in Los Angeles, and left the coffin and everything there overnight. The funeral was going to be the next morning at 10 o'clock. That night, the great Los Angeles earthquake happened. Harry Nilsson's body and his coffin, of course, fell down a crack in the earth very deep, and they couldn't get it out again. And I am not making this up. I know this is not something that happens every day, but it does happen, and it did happen. And Harry would have just been delighted with this. So what, can you imagine the scene in the funeral parlor? Like the next morning, oh my God, there's a crevice in the, oh my God. And the funeral is at 10 o'clock. So I've thought about this a lot, and I've worked out what they did. What would you do? Well, what you do is, you take another coffin and you fill it with stones and sand and bury that. And that's what they did. And that's the end of the story. And the story is really just to give you a clue, an idea of what my friend was like, so that I can sing, here's your brandy, darling, this beautiful song written by Harry Nilsson called Don't Forget.